Hello and welcome. This is Self-Control, How to Build a Better Life, the podcast that will inspire you to take control of your mind and your mindset to go forward and build the life that you want to live, the life that you deserve to live. These are practical tips, mindset shifts, behaviors that you can undertake to improve your mental health. These are insights that I've gained from my own journey, my own self-work, and I hope to make them applicable to you as well. Today, I want to talk about one simple factor, one mindset shift, one realization that I had to make when it came to quitting bad habits. When it came to bad habits, when it came to self-abuse, when it came to things that I was ashamed of doing, overeating, indulging too much in marijuana and letting that take over my life, pornography use. There's a lot of shame, there's a lot of guilt associated with those bad habits. There's messes to clean up, there's people to apologize to, there's things you wish you could take back. But, all that shame, all that guilt, even that wasn't enough until I sort of clued into this one key thing and was able to start doing the real hard work. So I want to talk about this one thing. I'll start with a quick story here. I troll around on a lot of Facebook groups, not trolling, but, trolling as if I were in a fishing boat with a trolling motor, looking to try and learn about what are the problems that people face with their mindset and with their mental health. Can I, practice giving this advice to people, or at least practice expressing myself? I don't know how much good advice one person can give to another, but we can all speak on our experiences. So I came across a post in one of the groups by a Facebook user named Charles De La Vega, and I'm actually going to send this episode to Charles, so hopefully that's not too obnoxious of a thing to do. But Charles, you're going to be hearing from me very shortly. I hope to hear back from you. Charles wrote, "Can I get advice on how to stop my gambling addiction? I really can't stop it," with a sort of petrified emoji face. So he's serious here. He's got a gambling addiction. And now a gambling addiction is not anything I have any personal experience with. Luckily, I've been addicted to enough things. I managed to escape gambling yet so far. What I said to Charles was, seek first to understand why you are addicted to gambling specifically. Seek first to understand why you are addicted to gambling specifically. Right. That's right with a W. Right. Don't be serious about quitting. Be serious about coming to know yourself. So in hindsight, maybe I would have said, be serious about quitting, but be even more serious about coming to know yourself. In my experience, in my opinion, we simply can't just stop any self-abuse, any negative behavior, any bad habit, be it drugs, alcohol, pornography, overeating, social media addiction, procrastination, promiscuity, whatever it is that we're doing that we on some level believe is bad for us, and yet we continue to do it, that harms us, that harms others, that impacts our quality of life. We cannot truly end that behavior, in my belief. We can't remove that behavior from our life. We can't stop doing these things without understanding ourselves on a pretty fundamental, a pretty deep and thorough level. Because if you're doing something and you know that it's killing you, you know that it's harming you, you know that it's making your life worse, you know that it's impacting the way other people relate to you, you're not getting where you want to get by undertaking this behavior. You're probably spending a lot of time on it, a lot of money on it. It's taking away from doing the things that you maybe ought to do, the things that would be allowing you to put a better foot forward. If you're doing this thing and you're on some level conscious of how it's harming you, and yet you can't quit, then you're not in control, are you? And you're not in control because you don't know how to control yourself. This is what I realized. These things that I was doing, in a sense, it was that I was out of control because I didn't know what it would feel like to have control, right? And the reason you can't control yourself, or the reason I couldn't control myself, was because I didn't know myself. And so I really believe that the specific habit, the vice, the behavior that we undertake, the specific habit, whatever it actually is, really reveals where the problem lies within ourselves. For me, pornography was a way to sidestep my fear of intimacy and still have a sexual thrill. Marijuana was an excuse for me to run from life, to go hide out in nature under the guise of being creative, but it really what it did was it removed me from my life. It removed me from taking on the challenges that I would have liked to have been taking on in order to grow. Overeating was a way to pleasure myself, to control how I pleasured myself, to distract myself with pleasure. But look, for all the times in my life that I tried to quit these things, I couldn't quit until I knew exactly why I did them in the first place. So I undertook the process of getting to know myself through daily journaling, right? I've talked about journaling a lot on this show. So I undertook the process of getting to know myself. Now, of course, we don't realize, well, I don't know myself. I need to get to know myself. So I was, in a sense, lucky, I guess, or I was in the pursuit of something, unbeknownst to me. I was in the pursuit of self-control through self-knowledge. So I began that daily journaling, and then I began after about a year or so to start rereading that journal, right? And then what happened was I got into the habit of more writing just in another notebook, just writing the thoughts that came to mind. And what this does, and what I would recommend to you if you're looking to try this out, is you're beginning a dialogue with yourself, right? Like, you can ask your friends on Facebook, you can ask your parents, you can ask your partner for help, advice, but there's another level of advice, another level of clarity to be gained by asking yourself what the problem is. I truly believe that intuitively, even if it's unconsciously, we are aware of what we are doing if we would just take the time to explain it to ourselves. I did expand on this idea on an episode that I released on April 16th called Use This 4-Step Process to Stop Bad Habits and Procrastination and Start Living Better Today. And so I definitely point you towards that episode if you'd like to hear more about this. But suffice it to say, please accept that quitting these bad habits will take time. Overeating, binge eating, that took me 30 plus years to understand why I was doing it and then stop doing it. Marijuana, 13 years. I had to go through it blindly, and then it took me probably a good 3 years of that 13 years to understand why I was doing it and what it would look like to quit. And with pornography, that was a lot of my teenage and adult life from the time I was 13 or 14 until I was in my late 20s, almost 15 years it took me. And it took me a number of years to understand why I was engaging in this behavior, why specifically that vice, and then put in the hard work of starting to quit. When you do come to understand why you're doing these things, the discipline will still be required to stop the act, stop the behavior, stop the consumption, but at least you'll understand exactly why you're doing it, and you'll be able to anticipate what triggers you to do it, and you will hopefully be able to eradicate that behavior from your life. And so again, please check out my episode from April 16th that really breaks down the 4-step process you can use to start to get a handle on some of these bad habits. I guess I would say in closing, don't worry about, I have to stop this habit now. Like, if it's a life-threatening behavior, that's a different story. But if it's maybe a softer bad habit, procrastination, pornography, marijuana, I would say, don't concern yourself with, I need to stop this now because I'm ashamed. I need to stop this now because I'm running out of money. I need to stop this now because my parents are going to kick me out and they're disappointed in me. That is not enough to quit. To quit, you need to understand why you undertook this behavior in the first place. You need to go deep on the traumatic experiences, on the losses in your life, the things that you feel you don't have. Understand that you're filling the gap in your life with this behavior. Go deep and understand, why am I doing these things? And then you can find the why to quit. Don't quit because someone says you have to, right? That's crazy. There's probably people screaming in your face saying you need to stop, but you'll never stop. You'll never truly stop until you understand why you're undertaking this self-abusive behavior. And when it comes to quitting substance abuse, I have an episode coming out next week about how I quit drinking coffee and how coffee was actually greatly reducing my quality of life, even on the verge of ruining my life now, looking back. Coffee, of all things. So if you're looking forward to hearing about maybe a more in-depth process on how to quit a certain substance, I can definitely offer that in the next episode. If you want to hear more about gaining self-knowledge so that you can start to get a handle on these bad habits, check out that episode from April 16th of this year. And until we speak again, please remember that better is possible.